As we get fancier with our responsive design, we're going to run into a few issues, and let's see some of the common ones here. So here's my Kevin Bacon site in the browser. Say, as I resize, I would like these images to get a little smaller as we go. Let's take a look in the inspector to see what kind of tags we're dealing with in this example, because I've changed them a little bit from the previous lab. So right now we have an image tag, and it's inside a figure tag. So that's really the only change that's different here. And the figures are now the ones that are floating left with a margin between. Okay. So I've decided that I would like the figure tags to be a percentage of my page and not a fixed width, so that they will get smaller as the page resizes. So now I'm going to take a moment and do some math to decide what percentage of the aside is the figure. So the previous figures were, oh boy, I don't even know how big these things are. Let's have a quick look in the images folder. Footloose. 148 pixels wide. Okay, so, and the whole aside is 320. So if I go to my calculator, I say 148 divided by 320 times 100. That means each one of these figure tags is roughly 46% of the aside. We can use 46.25, and in fact, let's do that. Here we go to the style sheet and say, no matter what's going on, I want the width of the figure tag to be, I already forgot the number, 46.25% of its parent container. Fine. What's going on with my box sizing? Good. It's set to border box, so that should be good. Back to the figure. Sorry about all the scrolling. So here we are, just added a width. Let's see the behavior in the browser. Refresh. Hey, not too bad, right? Until we start getting smaller. Right, so my images are still the size they are, so that's trouble. I don't want them to overlap like that. Common problem in the responsive layouts. Let's see what we've got to do about it. I'm going to make this rule really specific because I don't know if I want to be doing the same kind of thing as I'm doing in this aside. I have an image at the top that's a logo, so I definitely don't want to stomp on top of that. So I'm going to say aside, things that are in the aside area, inside a figure that are images, I'm going to set their max width to 100%. And this says I can only get as big as my container. I can only get as big as my container. I cannot overlap it. Save and refresh. Let's see the behavior. Beautiful, that's exactly, and that was one property. So max width 100%, reins in your images to make sure they don't start overlapping their parent container. Parent container has a percentage width on it, so it's getting smaller and bigger as I resize. The images are now behaving beautifully because they have max width set to 100%. You are welcome. And up here, this logo is not affected at all. I kind of would like to do something at the top, so in the next video we'll figure out what to do in this situation when we get really small.